Thank you, my friend and colleague in many ways, Dr. Ravi Gupta, who has been leading this initiative of eGov magazine for almost more than 20 years now. The MD of TCIL, who is here today at the inaugural function, and all the experts, delegates who are present here today in the audience. First and foremost, I would like to compliment Ravi and the eGov magazine for continuing this pursuit of ensuring effective communications, bringing people together on one platform for such a long time. I remember, as he mentioned, from the days of the National E-Governance Plan to the Digital India Plan, the eGov magazine has been documenting the entire story of India's digital transformation, which the whole world is looking at from a very, very long time. So towards this endeavor, his event today on the Atmanirbhar Bharat is very pertinent to continue the efforts that he started so long back. And today, especially as on 1st of March, it's a coincidence that yesterday only the Union Cabinet approved three major projects which will go a long way in making India Atmanirbhar in semiconductor manufacturing, in electronics manufacturing. In fact, the three proposals that were approved yesterday for an investment of more than 1,31,000 crores. The first one of the partnership with the Tata Electronics, Tata Semiconductors for building a 91,000 crore fab plant in Dholera in Gujarat. Then there was another project of Tata Electronics in setting up ATMP, the packaging unit in Assam. And then there is another project of CG Power for building up a OSAT unit for almost 7,600 crores in Sanad in Gujarat. So these three initiatives are very, very landmark initiatives, because for a very long time, India has been aspiring to be a global leader in semiconductor manufacturing, in electronics manufacturing, while we have been able to make a mark in manufacturing of mobile phones, laptops, electronic products through our PLI schemes, under which government gives production linked incentive for mobile manufacturers. And through that, whether it's Apple manufacturers, the iPhone manufacturers, or Samsung, or all leading technology manufacturers, they all have set shop in India. And with the recently introduced PLI scheme for notebooks, for tablets, for wearables, all the other manufacturers, whether it's HP, whether it's Lenovo, whether it's Dell, they all are setting up manufacturing units in India that is leading us to not only create jobs, but become a very active part in manufacturing of electronics products. Because we know that we are a very large country, we should not only be consumers of electronics, we should be exporters of electronics. To that extent, we have achieved that in a great level. But when it comes to the entire supply chain, when it comes to manufacturing the chips, which are at the core of all electronics devices, all automobiles, all industrial engineering, there we have been lagging for a very long time. To that extent, the efforts which are made in the last few years, especially beginning from the chips to startup plan, under which at the design stage, all the EDA tools which are required for electronics manufacturing, that were procured by the government, given to 104 institutions, and that ensured that the students could get access to very high cost electronics tools and use it for designing electronics products. And that's very, very important part. We have a very strong design community in India, but then the next step comes to like actually manufacturing fabs. And that's a very, very specialized technology which is available to only a few countries, whether it's the TSMC in Taiwan or the ESDM or the design companies like Cadence, Sanops. The expertise to actually manufacture high-end chips is limited to very few companies and to very few countries. To bring that to India, it required a lot of effort. Our scientists, engineers have been doing a lot of work, but of course we have gone to 28 nanometers, we have not gone beyond that, but that itself is a commendable initiative. And this setting up of the IITMP Micron plant last year in Gujarat, and this three decisions which have been taken yesterday will go a long way in making India Atmanirbhar in electronics. So that's the manufacturing part. The other part that comes in where we have a natural advantage compared to other countries is building software products. And we have shown to the world that not only our companies provide IT services to the entire world, whether it's the banking services, transportation services, but we have also created a robust digital public infrastructure in India. The implementation of digital transformation projects at population scale, whether it's for identity like Aadhaar or whether it's for direct benefit transfers, or whether it's for digital payments through UPI, or whether it's for document exchange through DigiLocker, or the vaccination platform, or the National Academic Depository, or eSanjeevani, the Ayushman Bharat Health Mission, Gati Shakti, all these projects have kind of enabled better access to services by building digital public infrastructure. And as was evident in G20, more and more countries are looking at India in what ways we can adopt that. And now, with the artificial intelligence becoming a buzz, our software developers, our startups, our researchers are also building products that will kind of revolutionize the way services are augmented by using AI. We have seen how Bhashini has made a big impact in making speech-to-speech, speech-to-text products available, how services are now today available through voice mode, how AI-based applications have been designed to diagnose tuberculosis, how AI-based applications have been designed to help farmers. Today only I was reading about some solutions like how cotton farmers have benefited across Maharashtra, across Tamil Nadu. Now, there was another interesting solution I came across at the GPA summit that we hosted in December, wherein an Indian startup had designed a solution which allows municipal corporations and police to use that app on the phones of Ola drivers, Uber drivers, Zomato, Swiggy delivery boys. So when they drive through the city, they are able to capture the potholes or manhole covers missing, or street lights not functional, or traffic lights non-functional, or garbage being dumped, or traffic violations happening, and that information is shared with the municipal corporation, and then they are able to take corrective action to that. Similarly, AI is being used on the Diksha platform to create personalized learning models for students. So what I mean to say is that the time is there for India. The technology boom is happening. We are moving ahead on the route for becoming Atmanirbhar in manufacturing and Atmanirbhar in developing AI-based solutions. And in the days to come, this will truly revolutionize the way we are implementing our digital transformation projects. It will mean a lot for our economy. It will go a long way in making us Atmanirbhar. And as Honorable Prime Minister says, it will be a stepping stone as we step into the Amrit Kal, and by 2047 comes, all these will be a very valuable components of making India a truly developed nation that we are looking forward to in the days to come. So I'm sure today's deliberations will further document many of these stories, many of the steps that have been taken, and also identify what more we need to do. So I thank once again Ravi Gupta and Elets for organizing this summit, and I'm sure the deliberations today will go a long way in helping build a roadmap, a pathway for India to become a true Atmanirbhar Bharat nation. AI mission, what Ravi wants me to elaborate, I have mentioned about the examples and how AI is revolutionizing. But AI, as you know, requires three key components. It requires compute to begin with, it requires data sets, and it requires skills. So India as a country has largely been regarded as very strong when it comes to AI talent. In fact, Stanford AI Index rates India as one of the top countries when it comes to penetration of AI skilling. NASSCOM reports have also said that India is the top country when it comes to providing AI trained manpower to the world. We also are very strong when it comes to number of AI startups which have been incubated. The other part is data sets. Like being a large country and having implemented so many digital transformation projects, we have a large volume of data that can be harnessed, that can be leveraged. But there are some challenges because data that is available very often is not usable for AI-based applications. So we need to index that data, we need to annotate the data, we need to have privacy preservation tools, we need to have anonymization tools, we need to have policies which decide what data can be shared on the open platform, what on the restricted platform, what can be prohibited, and that the entire data sets platform needs to be built up for enabling seamless data sharing across researchers and startups. So for that, we have under the National Program on AI, under the AI mission, we have taken the initiative of setting up the National Data Management Office, which will lay down the policies and guidelines for data sharing, as also kind of build up an ecosystem of data units in all departments. So health, agriculture, all departments will be able to decide what data sets they can share with the larger ecosystem. And the third most important component for making our AI dreams a reality is the compute. And that's where we lack, because compute is become very kind of expensive and it's restricted. The access to AI compute is just there for a few companies and a few countries. Like most AI algorithms today, whether you look at OpenAI or whether you look at any large language model, they require very high-end compute, and only one company, NVIDIA, has access to those chips which are required for such compute. There are other companies like Intel and AMD who are trying to catch up, but presently AMD has NVIDIA has almost 80% market share, and we also are trying to set up our own AI supercomputing cluster, but we are much behind countries like China and the US. Our fastest supercomputer, which is of course the 75th fastest supercomputer in the world, the Aravat Paramsiddhi, it has got around 646 GPUs. But when we compare it to, say, an OpenAI, which has got 20 supercomputing compute access to almost 25,000 GPUs, or a Facebook, Meta, they are using many more GPUs than we have. So we need to augment the infrastructure that we have. For that, government and the AI mission is trying to set up a supercomputing cluster of almost 10,000 GPUs. In addition, there has been initiatives in the private sector. Like there's a company called Yota, which is setting up a cluster for 50,000 GPUs. Then there are announcements of Jio and Tata's that they would also set up almost 50,000 GPU supercomputers. So once these initiatives in the private sector realize, and once we are also able to augment our Aravat to a 10,000 GPU supercomputing cluster, that will largely address the challenge that our researchers and startups have in accessing supercomputing infrastructure. So under the AI mission, these are some initiatives that are taken up. We are also setting up almost 250 data labs in tier 2, tier 3 cities to train youth into becoming data scientists, data analysts. So that's another initiative that has been taken up. There's a lot of framework. There's a task force has been set up for coming up with India's responsible AI framework that will ensure that the guidelines, the guardrails that we build for ensuring that AI that is being developed is responsible, is ethical, doesn't have biases. That's a very, very important aspect, because very often the concerns that we have in India as a society are much different from the concerns Western countries have. For example, there the bias is only thought of in terms of gender and race. In India, where AI model, if the data set is not cleaned or data set is not corrected, there can be biases related to language, related to caste, communities, and those models can be very, very risky to deploy. So there are a lot of work that is happening, but I would say that we are on the right track. We need to make some more investments. The government, the private sector, the startup community, the researchers, academia need to come together in order to ensure that we move faster, we move more effectively on the AI roadmap that we have set for ourselves. So that's all I would want to add. Thank you, Ravi. Yeah.